beyond all things. Pour forth a ray of your brightness into the darkened places of our minds, and disperse from our souls the twofold darknesses into which we were born, sin and ignorance. You make eloquent the tongue of infants. Refine our speech and pour forth upon our lips the goodness of your blessing. Skill in learning, subtlety to interpret, and eloquence in speech. May you guide the beginning of our work, direct its progress, and bring it to completion. You who are a true God and true man, who live and reign, world without end.
Amen.
Amen.
If you go to confession within 7 days of doing the acts that get you the indulgence, and it's a plenary versus a partial.
That is according to, there are indulgences, plenary and partial, what is given by the Pope.
Roman, yeah.
Yeah. So that we had to look into.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, Joe was just talking me now about how should, one should keep his younger age, the whole life. The secret of what's called the youth. So,
He found it.
Joe found it.
But he lost it also.
So what was it? So it is their understanding, Joe and his wife, all about avoiding stress. So they decided, if he starts fighting, they agreed, no, the wife will take a walk in the morning. Or if she starts a fight, he goes for a walking. And every day walking make him so young.
Yeah, thank you for that illusion.
Okay, I will start walking too. I will really.
So it's not clean living and self-denial?
All that too.
No, that was Glenn was talking about somebody, I just attributed to him. Okay, now we are going to just starting with again with Luke. Okay, let's start with Gospel of Luke. We were talking about some of the main themes, and I think some of the things we have already covered. But it's now we are going to see just a little more understanding about what is its structure, the division structure of Luke, how it is structured. So the structure is chapter 1 to 4. That is called prologue. What do you mean by prologue? It's the beginning, or it's just an introduction. So the second is 1:5 to 2:52. That is the whole chapter. So first, after the prologue, first and second chapter together. That is called the infancy narrative. Infancy narrative. Okay? The third. So, chapter 3, 1 to chapter 4, 13. That is a preparation for his public ministry. A preparation for public ministry. Chapter 4, 14. Chapter 4, 14 to chapter 9, 50. Chapter 9, 50.
What is it?
Preparation for public ministry.
That one.
This one, chapter 4.
His 4 look like a 6.
Oh, this is one.
Okay, the 4 looks like a 6.
Oh, I'm much more advanced.
And the other one is the 4?
This is.
413.
Oh, this is the problem.
413 also.
Oh.
Now this is 4 again. Now it is 4, no? Okay. 950. Yeah, that is ministry in Galilee. Ministry in Galilee. Then 5, 9, 51 to 19, 27. It's a journey to Jerusalem. Then again, now the next one is 19, 28, 28 to chapter 21, 38. Ministry in Jerusalem.
So ministry in Galilee and then ministry in Jerusalem.
Jerusalem. So in between there is a preparation to ministry in Galilee and there is a preparation to ministry in Jerusalem. It's very orderly. Then the last 2 parts, chapter 22, this is 29, 38 only, that is with that, it is finished. Then chapter 22, 23, Passion. Chapter 22, 23, Passion narrative. Chapter 24, Resurrection. Okay?
Thank you.
Very nice handwriting.
That is 20 to 23 chapters, Passion narrative about Jesus' passion. The last chapter, 24, is about resurrection narrative. So just check with once more. So chapter 1, 1 to 4, the first 4 verses. That is the introduction, what we call prologue, no? Prologue. Then the rest of the first chapter and chapter 2 all together. It is the infancy narrative. And Luke is the most vivid, Luke has the most vivid infancy narrative for all the Gospels.
That's probably one of the main characteristics of...
Yeah, it's one of the main characteristics of Luke. Of course, Matthew has some of them, but Luke has, more detailed infancy narratives and about the Annunciation and things like that. That's all those things. Two chapters are dedicated to infancy narrative in Luke. Then there is the third one is a preparation for public ministry.
What does that mean?
That means, his main life is these two: ministry in Galilee and ministry in Jerusalem. So in preparation for there are about 3, 4, that means almost like 3 and some chapters, 3 and chapter 4, 3 and 4, but 4 not full. Why this problem, in dealing with the chapters and problems, originally gospel was not written with all the chapters, and I told it was given later. Chapters and verses and all those things it was given by, and the man who gave it, he just divided as he thought, it is the structure. But that was, when now new studies, shows the difference. Understand? Okay, so what we can very simply, what we can, if you make it very simple to learn first is, there is infant's narrative, no?
What is that word for?
Infant. Small. Infant, no? Infant, the first for infant's narrative. The second mostly ministry in Galilee where Jesus was born and brought up. 3, and ministry in Jerusalem. Then comes, there's the passion, then it's the resurrection. This is the most important core of the Bible. The Lucan Bible. In between, there is a preparation portion here, and there is a preparation portion here. For ministry in Jerusalem, there is a preparation for part, and then ministry in Galilee, there is a preparation part. So look all together, then it is easier to remember, no? The structure is the first, the infant's narrative, then there is the ministry in Galilee, ministry in Jerusalem, passion and resurrection. This is the core. And in between, this is very simple to remember.
I didn't hear what the last one was.
This one, resurrection. Resurrection.
Resurrection. Oh, okay.
So, just remember this one. This way, this is very easy, to structure in mind. There is the infant's narrative, then the ministry in Galilee, ministry in Jerusalem, then there is the passion and the resurrection. So, then in between two ministries, just beginning of, there is a preparation for the Galilean ministry, then the preparation for the Jerusalem ministry.
So the passion includes the death.
The passion means, passion, death, and the resurrection is, here is passion means the last thing, death only. Yeah.
Father, do the other gospel, does Matthew and Mark also follow the same pattern of the ministry in Galilee? And
yeah, that's why these are three. That's why we call it synoptic gospels. So the Mark and Luke, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, all these three follow almost the same pattern. So it's like these three, just design the gospel. Jesus' life is a journey from Galilee to Jerusalem. So when he goes from Galilee to Jerusalem, he teaches, he does miracles. All the events came into his life, and at the end his end of life, death, and then the resurrection. That is a kind of it's the same pattern of all these. That's why they are called synoptic gospels.
What's the distance from Galilee to Jerusalem?
Exactly, I'm not so sure, but one thing I can just make you to calculate. It is almost like I think when I went with a bus, it is almost like a 10 hours journey. 10 hours.
in the bus?
In the bus. But in between we stopped for some of the towns and things like that.
About 20 miles an hour.
Galilee
To Jerusalem.
100 to 200 miles.
is it?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that when I was there.
That's why I take 10 mile. No, 10 hours means it's a one day. Yeah, that means
1 day trip.
yeah, 1 day trip, and that's less. Don't think that just go in 150 or 70 miles. So we go one place and visit that and this and that and this like that, and it goes.
Took a day, yes.
So it's a day's journey.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't know exact the distance, but it's a kind of a 1 day's, maybe. If you go faster, maybe it may be even 5 hours journey, 5 hours of journey. That's all.
Father, is it safe to travel over there even right now as we speak?
Yeah, that's no problem. If you don't hit a missile, you are safe.
Or a missile don't hit you.
Yeah.
No. What did you say, brother? No, brother.
If you see a missile coming, just keep going forward.
Well, I have a friend who is
Yeah.
in Jerusalem, a priest, and he told me, because we usually communicate, he said to tell your friends not to come at this time.
Yeah, this is it. As you all know that this a war is really war. The ground war is going on. You know that from the news now these days, and it is really very. Israel is so angry about the Hamas and things like that. It is not. Israel is really determined, to do something, and we, all things from the news. It's not a very safe time to go now, and this is very bad for them, because this is mostly they do that because they know these Hamas people, they know that this is the summertime, and all over the world people are pouring out, and Israel is getting money, so they want to prevent it.
Okay. It's about 80 miles.
80 miles, yeah. So that means 2 hours journey. Yeah.
Israel's about the size of Delaware.
There are no highways.
And there is a mountain, of course, we have to go through. I think there is the Mount of Tabor. On the way we were there on the Mount Tabor, where Jesus was transfigured. And there is another one, the Mount Carmel. Another one. Yeah. So this is about the structure, something. Now, let us take one after another the structure and then see. First take prologue. So, if you have the Bible, take prologue. That is chapter 1. Prologue. Chapter 1, 1 to 4. Mostly it is written like this, the beginning. Dear Theophilus, many people have done their best to write a report of the things that have taken place among us. They wrote what we have been told by those who saw these things from the beginning and who proclaimed the message. And so, Your Excellency, because I have carefully studied all these matters from their beginning, I thought it would be good to write an orderly account for you. I do this so that you will know the full truth about everything which you have been taught. That is the prologue. Okay. Now, who is receiving this letter? Theophilus. The meaning of word Theophilus, no? Theo means God. Philius, the one who loves, or merciful. Someone who found mercy or gracious, we can say.
So it sounds like a fictitious name, so he can be really delivered to anybody who...
Could be. That is the thing, there are hypotheses about that. So, Philos, love. So someone loved by God, or someone who loves God, Theophilus. The word name is. Then here comes the discussion. Who is exactly Theophilus? There is no other information except the name, but he is called Excellency. So, connecting between these two, Theophilus, the name as it seems, could be a of Greek origin. Could be. Because that word, Theos and Philos, Philos. That is, both of them Greek words. So, could be if his name is properly, his name is Theophilus, then he could be someone who of Greek origin. But here comes then again discussion whether his name is really Theophilus. So when we discuss, when the what's called the people who are the Gospel of Matthew, the experts discuss about, there are different opinions, hypotheses about this word. One thing is what we call is the Egyptians and the Coptic people, they believe that he is a converted Jew. He's a Jew from Alexandria, but of Greek origin. Usually this name Theophilus we don't say in Greek names. It's a Greek. No, in Jewish names we don't say this name Theophilus in Hebrew names. No. So Theophilus could be a converted Jew from Alexandria. They claim that Theophilus is someone from Alexandria. They are claiming it. We don't know exactly. Another thing is, because he is addressed Your Excellency, so he was having a high rank. So he could be a Roman official. Could be a Roman official. We don't know. Could be. These are all hypotheses. Assumptions. Or a Roman official. That's why he is addressed as Excellency. You see, nowadays we all, even all these 2000 years, bishops were addressed Excellency. And that was borrowed from the Roman custom. The Roman officials were addressed as Excellency.
Well, he could have been a Roman soldier too, officer.
Could be
Very high-ranking officer.
a high-ranking officer.
Really served the military, right there.
Could be. Then, another hypothesis that this name is an honorary title, Theophilus. His name would be a different one, but a name was given to him, what we call kind of a attributed name. So his name could have was something else, but he was given a name by Luke. Why? There is a theory behind it. For example, the people who advocate or propose this theory, this is because his original name was Titus Flavius Sabinus. Titus Flavius Sabinus. And he was a Roman, belonging to Roman nobility, and he was the brother of King Vespasian, who was the king who really united the first the first in that genre, having a kind of a unification of Roman Empire in a larger scale. Vespasian. So this is true. This is Titus Flavius Sabinus was the brother of King or Emperor Vespasian. He is the elder brother, oldest brother of the king. And it was true also, he was converted into Christianity.
So, Father, are you saying that it's known for a fact that this Theophilus' real name was this guy?
No.
Well, that's that. No. That is an assumption. These are all theories or assumptions. Who Theophilus is? Nobody knows that. People, experts propose one theory of another. So this Titus Flavius Sabinus was a Roman, high-ranking, and he belonged to royal family, and his brother became the emperor of the Roman Empire, and Vespasian was very, very powerful, the great emperor, and he was oldest brother of that king, and because he belonged to the Roman nobility, high-ranking place at that time, and because he was converted into Christianity, he became a Christ follower. And this is true, what I am talking about this man. And then lately, after that, he was found when during persecution time, then he was martyred. So he was a martyr. So this man, because he belonged to that great nobility and Christians all knew about it, so Luke dedicated his writing to him. But he changed the name so that he may not be known that he was a Christian.
That part's the theory.
Yeah, so that part of theory. Could be, may not be, or it's all just trying to find out some meaning. Why Luke wrote this and to this man?
And who that man was?
There's an irony though, because he wrote this, but Theophilus is lover of God, right?
Yeah.
So in a way, he's writing to all of us.
Yeah, that's another theory. He's going to come, I'm going to say that. Yeah, that's the thing. So this is one theory connected with Titus Flavius Sabinus. So he could be a man. That's why this title is a kind of an honorary title. So attributed this historic man. That's one theory. Another theory is he was a Jewish priest. A Jewish priest, Theophilus. And priest's name was, there was a priest, Theophilus ben Ananus. Theophilus ben Ananus. And he was son of Annas and brother-in-law of Caiaphas. So who became this man? Theophilus ben Ananus. He was a high priest of the Temple of Jerusalem between 37-41. So he wanted to dedicate, because he might have shown a little more understanding about Christianity, this high priest. So might be that could be a person. So different persons we are taking who Theophilus is.
That's another.
Yeah, that's another theory. Or another theory which would be well liked by Joe. He was a lawyer.
But a good lawyer.
Joe Connors.
Yeah, a lawyer who defended Paul in Rome. That was Paul's lawyer in Rome. Paul was, as you all know, Paul was a citizen of Roman Empire. And so when he was arrested, he claimed the citizenship and therefore he was transferred to Rome. And then this Theophilus was a Roman lawyer who appeared for St. Paul.
Successfully.
Yeah, and he was released. Paul was released. You know that. So,
He didn't charge a penny.
Maybe he said this to give him, the lawyer, arguments to understand Paul and defend very well.
that's these are all some assumptions and theories. We don't know anything about this. I have collected all those things. Only thing is that who Theophilus is. There are different theories existing. Okay, and the last one is Now the last theory what we can say is that his name is lover of God, Theophilus. So it means the whole Christians.
I like that one, Father. That's easy.
Because those who found Jesus as God and loving Him. So he addresses the whole people. Only this he coined that word Theophilus. Or Theophilus, of course, that name was already existing. So he found it to be very meaningful that in order to show that this book was written to all people. Theophilus, those who love God.
But Father, with all those theories, it's also important to remember that could really be his name.
That's why it could be. That's why the difference, if it is a real name, that was the question, then we try to understand maybe he could be this Titus Flavius Sabinus, he could be a lawyer, or a Roman lawyer, he could be a high priest of at that time, or he could be a Jewish convert from Alexandria. So all those things could be.
But in that time, how often was usually this name in the Greek areas?
Oh, of course, this name was popular.
It's popular.
Yeah, Theophilus was a popular name. John, like, no? Joe.
Joe.
John and Joe, they are different. John is John the Baptist and Joe is Saint Joseph.
There you go.
That's my name.
Yeah, so this is about, and then another thing is, for example, why he writes. Here is. So some of the things, what we can take it from here. I have carefully studied those things. So there are different, I want to give you a report. What we learned in the beginning of, these classes, is coming here a little bit more, Now, so there are people who wrote about these things. We have seen in different parts, different things came out in writings. And now he says, I've seen so many things here and there, so I want to give a detailed report, orderly and detailed report of Jesus.
That's amazing. That's an amazing statement.
So he says, see, many people have done their best to write a report of the things that have happened. So, do you remember? So there is the Jesus proclamation, then the oral tradition, and writing appeared in many contexts, and then people laterally redacted. So Luke sees that many writings appears here and there. So he wanted to give. So he says, so many people tried to write a report, and so they wrote what they have been told by those who saw these things. Look, it very clearly says, those people who wrote it, by those have been seen. Who are the people who seen these things? Apostles.
In other words, it's not a gossip.
It is not a gossip, it is by apostles. So, Your Excellency, because I have carefully studied all those things, so collected all those things and studied and putting in orderly. In the beginning, I thought it would be good to write an orderly account for you. For you means, could be you Christians. I want to give an orderly account of what happened. And for what it is. So I do this. What is the purpose of writing? So that you will know the full truth about everything which you have been taught. So just want to give the truth in its integrity.
Remind me again, who was Luke? He was not one of the...
He was not a disciple. No. He was first, of course, he was a disciple first with Peter, and then joined with Paul. And he mostly takes things from Paul. Of course, he was with Peter, and he heard from Peter most of the things.
Do we know about what time this gospel was written?
Almost like, I think, which time it is. Did I give you the time? I think there is a allusion I gave you.
Like 60 AD or something?
Yeah, I think there is.
And Luke had very good Greek, right?
Yeah, Koine Greek. Date it is almost like, could be, it could be, in it is 60 to 80. 60 to 80. So in between that span, 60 to 80, 20 years. Could be one time in between.
Like a generation or two after.
The generation after the second or third generation already. Yeah, that's about the interaction. Okay? About?
So a Gentile, he wasn't
Luke was a Gentile. He was a Gentile physician. And beautifully, I don't know whether there is a tradition that Luke was also a beautiful artist. And he drew Our Lady's, mother of, Mary's beautiful picture. That was the, do you know Our Lady of Perpetual Succor? Perpetual?
Oh, yeah, the picture where the baby is
Yeah.
hanging with a sandal.
Perpetual Succor,
And when you say succor, we say perpetual help, don't we?
Yeah, perpetual help.
Which is the parish that across the town.
Yeah, while that is the Latin word succor, succurso. Yeah, socorro, no, in Spanish. So help. So Our Lady of Perpetual Help. So that picture, the tradition says it was drawn by Luke. Yeah.
So he had a deep love for Mary.
Mary. That's why
The infancy again.
infancy. Yeah.
Mary and Jesus. A deep love.
That's why most of the small detailed things even about the Annunciation, all those things have come, and maybe there is a source. Not all other Gospels, people got it. Luke got it somewhere. Who wrote, who was an intimate relationship with Mary. While how could anyone know that angel appeared to Mary and said all those things if she did not have said that?
Wow.
Somebody who was very intimately connected with Mary had written those things, and Luke had it. So, okay. Now comes, it's okay with the prologue? Now we come past to the infancy narrative.
He started with John, right?
Eh?
But he started with John before John was.
Yeah, there is a beautiful structure there, infancy narrative. We shall see that. Okay, let me take it off, okay? Now we see like a classroom really studying something about Luke.
Don't change the subject.
Not like discussions. So the infancy narrative. So I told you that it's 2 chapters are infancy narratives. Now the first and second chapter, except the first 4 verses. The first 4 verses are the prologue. Then the 2 chapters, the whole 2 chapters are chapter 1 and 2 are infancy narrative. No? Okay. So how it is structured, for example. We can see 4 we can divide this infancy narrative in 4 parts. Okay? In 4 parts. The first one is chapter 1, what we call Annunciation. Chapter 1, 5 to 56. Or the infancy narrative is itself, chapter 1, 5 to chapter 2, 52. So 2 chapters. So of which the first part is, this part we can call Annunciation. Part of Annunciation. Part of Annunciation. There are 2 Annunciations, no? There are 2 Annunciations. That means, if we see, so of the 2, the first one is, what is the first Annunciation?
St. Gabriel, the angel.
Birth of, or Annunciation about John the Baptist. It's a long description. So Annunciation on John the Baptist. Then, second, after that comes on Jesus. Yeah. So, this is the part, the first part. Second is...
When you say of Jesus, you mean the incarnation, right?
Yeah.
The angel Gabriel is coming and doing both of these.
Both of, yeah. Angel Gabriel came and announced, the birth of John the Baptist and Jesus. So, the second part is of the infancy narrative, no? Of the infancy narrative. The second part is interview between Elizabeth and Mary. Interview. The third part is birth. The first part is Annunciation, no? The second part is an interview between. The third part is, after the Annunciation comes the birth. The last one is, the fourth part we can call, the childhood of Jesus. Childhood of Jesus. Childhood of Jesus. Okay? Did you get it? The first part. This is, very simple. Again, this is the structure of Annunciation. So, very easily what we can remember is the Annunciation part, what we can see, there is part of Annunciation, second part of birth. There is in between, there is an interview between Mother Mary and Elizabeth, and after that there is the childhood of Jesus. So it's the infancy narrative is mostly written on 2 events, which are Annunciation and birth of Jesus. And there is a part in between. Got it? It's very simple structure. No? It's very simple. The infancy narrative is mostly centered on 2 events. One is Annunciation, another is birth. And Annunciation has two Annunciations. The Annunciation about Baptist and Annunciation about Jesus. And birth has also 2. Birth of John the Baptist and birth of Jesus. And it all center around what? Birth of Jesus, no? Why the Annunciation of Baptist is given? In preparation for the Annunciation of Jesus. And why birth of Baptist is given in preparation for the birth of Jesus. So the infancy narrative is centered on one point, that is the birth of Jesus. And in preparation for that, there is the Annunciation, and in preparation for that, there is the birth of Baptist.
Father, we don't have any record of John the Baptist doing any miracles.
No. He was preaching. That's all. He is considered to be a prophet.
Yeah, but that's all it took for the people to believe.
That is mostly because he was talking about what's called repentance. He was repentance, and people came, considered him as a prophet.
Father, Matthew also has a part of the birth of Jesus.
Yeah, sure. Matthew gives already how he was. He went to, because the difference between Matthew and Luke. We can see that why there is a difference. We have already dealt. Matthew's gospel was mostly written for Jews. So those things which are connected with Jewish thing, it's mostly proposed, enlightened, or highlighted. Why Matthew goes in genealogy is mostly to only with Abraham, because he wanted to show Jesus as a descendant of Abraham. While in Luke, we see goes to Adam, because he wanted to show not only Jesus belonging to the people of Israel, but he belongs to the whole humanity. So universalism. Or in Matthew we see Jesus was mostly connected with whom? Not with Mary. No, we have already seen that. And interestingly, Joseph had no way connected with, except he was a foster father. He was not his biological father. He was not even in any way connected with, related with Jesus, except that.
He is the descendant of David.
And Joseph is the descendant of David, not Mary.
And that's highlighted.
That's why Jesus would be called as a descendant of David. And it is done through Joseph. So that's a kind of an attribution. Not only, and Joseph had no relation with Jesus. Only kind of adopted.
So, since God told David centuries before that his descendants will be, ended up not being the whole truth.
Yeah, that's why, anyway, at that time at least, there was a conscious effort from the part of the Christians to show that Jesus belonged to the David's line. But in fact, he was not really belonging to the very lineage of David, no. Because he belonged to Jesus, no, to Mary's lineage. But at that time the problem was, in Jewish patriarchal system, the lineage was always counted with the father, never counted with mother. So maternity, no. So Jesus, of course, connected with Joseph, and in the eyes of others, Jesus was a son of Joseph. And nobody knew that, Jesus was not a biological son of Joseph. If that had been known to everyone, or someone except Mary, Mary would have been stoned to death. Because, that's a part of adultery, They were married, and Mary was, brought a child without the knowledge of Joseph, means adultery, and she would have been put to death. But that was the way God planned, She should be protected And that way, God planned that Jesus would be, called descendants of David. All those things come
Was
here.
Mary from the line of David?
No. Mary was not a line of David, no. No.
Was Joseph?
It was Joseph.
Right, it's traced by this St. Luke to Joseph, right?
But was that,
In Luke, we don't see those things.
Matthew found it.
Matthew.
you know, the book Jesus of Nazareth, the infancy narratives from Pope Benedict, Emeritus, he explains it very clearly. That goes very deep into the narratives. And it explains that about, how he ended up being in the line of David without being the son of Joseph.
Yeah, only that, we were talking about these things, only about Mary. Gospel of Matthew gives, and Mary, in the Gospel of Matthew, when you look into, deeper understanding, you don't see Mary's picture there. Mary is not an important person there in the Gospel of Matthew. It is Joseph. Yes. Mary is just, a passing. But when it comes to Luke, Mary is the central point. I mean, most. Yeah.
I think they were married. Joseph and Mary were married. And back in that time, when they were married, marriage was not. It's just like it is today. It's not a contract. It is a covenant between them two. And what did God say about covenants? When a covenant is made, it's good. It's about as good as it can get. I mean, you are family. So isn't that the way the lineage that came through? Joseph went to Mary. There's the lineage right there.
Yeah, and we don't have any problem with that. Only thing is that what I told you, that is why the emphasis comes this way and that way. It is because who was the audience of Matthew. Oh, that's why, mostly. Are you awake? Okay.
The Magnificat, Father.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I have a question about the Magnificat.
Yeah, that's going to come.
Whose is that?
That is from Samuel. No. That's from Old Testament. The Magnificat is taken from Old Testament. That was the mother of Samuel sang a song of, praising, thanking God. And that part of the Old Testament is taken from and, put into the mouth of Mary. A little bit changed, that's all. That's not exactly the Mary's composing. No, it is purely, she was just praising God, quoting Old Testament. That's all. Samuel. Okay. We are going to see more in about the coming days about these things. So this is what I want to say. So infancy narrative, these things, just to have a structure at least, this thing. There are two annunciations and there are two accounts of birth. Two accounts of annunciations and two accounts of birth of two people. These make the infancy narrative. And in between, of course, there is a meeting between Elizabeth and Mary, and at the end, there is a little part of the childhood of Jesus. So this is how the infancy narrative is structured. So we are going to see something more about the infancy narrative. What are the things? So what are the themes? Why to be seen this way and that way? Okay? The next class. This is the structure about the infancy narrative.
Great.
So now are we moving a little bit more of the Lucan Gospel? Okay, we are going to move, strictly. We are going to be with the Luke. Okay? I'm leaving 5 minutes early because, I have to open my church and otherwise people, that's why.
Thank you, Father.
My friend, who is helping me is out of town. So that's why I have to go.
Father, are you going with us to